What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode, this time of Ferocious. This is a playtest, pre-alpha. Yeah, we're jumping in, we're testing it, we're giving it a go, and we're giving it our thoughts. So, the game. What did I think of it? Not too bad, man. Not too bad. I'm just going to tell you straight off the bat, it's not too bad. So, we jump into it, and we find out we need to find our brother. That's the whole goal. Except for, it seemed like he kept moving or something. It was a bit weird. But yeah, we loaded up and we headed out into the wilderness of Ferocious. Okay, so one of the first things we found out was the campfire. Apparently this is how you save your game. You can place campfires throughout, like, playing the game, just randomly on the ground and save it. But it was a very weird way of saving the game. But, I suppose, seems like a bed. Now, this was one of the downfalls I found with the game, was they had these little climb-up spots where you could only climb up there. And I don't know, I didn't really like that. It just didn't feel very open world kind of sort of game to me because of that. And, yeah. Another thing that was a bit strange were these gates, where apparently you needed to, like, collect a stick here, and the gate would open. So I don't know if it's because it's just an early access, like, pre-alpha playtest, that they didn't spin or something like that. I don't know. It just seemed weird to me that you just grab a stick and the door opens, you know? Yeah, I don't know. But it is what it is. You do have a backpack and stuff like that. The world itself was actually pretty good. It did look pretty mad. They did have a lot of things like this where you had to jump gaps and climb ropes and all that sort of stuff. I just found it very repetitive. It was the same sort of, you know, the same birds, the same rocks, the same setup. Throughout what I played, it was pretty similar. You'll see that through this test. There wasn't much variety. Okay, we found out our first enemy was a scorpion. Now these things, they weren't that dangerous. We took them out pretty easily. Now, of course, that wasn't how our first attempt went, looking all gangster. It actually went more like this. That's how it really went. Alright, we continued on. And we found our first, like, bit of civilization. This sort of reminded me a lot of DayZ. Anyone who's played that game, you know, you're going up, you're searching, finding stuff in these towers. Yeah, I don't know, I just had a throwback of DayZ there. But this was our first little encampment, I should say. There wasn't too much here. It was a lot of destruction, like something bad's happened. But this whole area, once again, it reminded me of DayZ, it reminded me of Rust. So maybe there could be a bit of future in the game for something like that. I could see modders getting their hands on this and, yeah, doing something like that where they create their own style. So that's where I learnt that you could basically make your own campfires, which is pretty cool. Now with the weapons, I found you could only take one different type of weapon at a time. So you had your pistol, but you couldn't swap it for a machine gun, you know what I mean? I could only swap the shotgun and the machine gun, and like that's it. See this whole area here, this reminds me of Rust, man. I've been playing too many of those games. It just reminded me of Rust. And I was thinking, interesting. But yeah, so pretty mad that they do have that. So we continued on. I found this puddle. It looked mad, but when you're jumping up and down, it had no reaction at all for some strange reason. Here, I was playtesting, so I was testing it, mate. That's what I was doing. It seemed to have some sort of weird issue with the birds as well. So these lads here were the first real enemies, NPC players, I should say, that we came up against, or AI players, I don't know. I wasn't too sure if they were friendly at first. But we pretty much quickly found out that they were enemies and they do shoot back. They had a bit of a strange, like, voice. It was almost like the voices that they put out, they weren't like 3D in the world. So it sounded like they're in the back of your head, like, I don't know. It just sounded a bit weird to me. They also seem to have like aimbot and seem to do a lot of damage. So we healed up and we went back down and we took them out, mate. That's what we done. Straight up gangster style. I actually found the gunplay was pretty good. I did have to keep cutting it here because, you know, they had a little bit of language, these lads. Bit of a foul mouth. So if you hear it cut out every now and again, that's why. But just like the pro I was, I reloaded and I took them out, mate. And we continued on into the world. So this world was actually pretty good. Even though it was repetitive, there were times when I had to stand back and just be like, Nate, for a Unity game, not too bad. This ain't Unreal Engine. This is done in Unity. Same game that Rust is made in, pretty much, so... Not bad, mate, not bad. Although I did find myself, like, having to follow, like, a tunnel sort of system, if you know what I mean. It didn't really allow us to run around. I also found these lads were like hard to hit. It's like my weapons did nothing. It was pretty fun though when you got into these fights. In the end, I took them out with a pistol, mate. You know, pro style. Looking around, see, it does have a lot of like a DayZ feel or something. I could see a game like that being like a mod version of it. But these NPCs, man, they just tore through me and I did no damage at all. It was kind of weird. Now this was our first big dinosaur we come up against. It had a bit of a weird sound issue again. I don't know, it just sounded like it was made of rocks. Yeah, it was a bad idea trying to take him on, but you know, at first we thought we were gone, but then I realized, like, for some reason it floats on water. And yeah, we were like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking there. In the end, we ended up going around him. This was the second enemy we came across, so it was like a big enemy. Oh yeah. But in the excitement, I ended up accidentally pressing the skip cutscene. I thought it was like fighting back or something, but yeah, in the end, after that, we ended up waking up in this this little area. I don't know, it was sort of like a lab or something. And after thinking that this dinosaur was talking to us, and then we realized, oh, okay, it's the headset. We ended up getting up and then having a look around. When we had a look around, we found a little piece here that, I don't know, man. You know, Jurassic Park, they might have a bit of a lawsuit here. I'm pretty certain I've seen that thing in a Jurassic Park movie before. I don't know. It looks very similar to me, doesn't it? Very similar. In the end, we ended up coming up to this area here. I got stuck here for a bit, till I realized what you needed to do was scan your creature, then press E on the keyboard, and basically it'll allow you to, it'll come up with these extra menus where you could do stuff. You see it says go here, and then it says fetch the stick. So when you press your left mouse button, it would go collect the stick. So it'd whistle sort of like an arc or something where you'd whistle your dinosaur to go do something. You go grab the stick for me, and then bam, we were free, mate. We were free. Once we left here, yeah, it was, once again, it sort of gave me that feeling of like Jurassic Park, The Lost World or something. You know how like they have that extra group that comes in and is sort of taking dinosaurs out. That's just what it felt like to me. It was weird. So, we soon learned that we could actually do this with bigger dinosaurs, like the T-Rex. Oh, not T-Rex, the Triceratops, sorry. So we used him at this point here, which obviously is what you're supposed to do, in order to get him to smash through the gate. things got a little bit crazy for him, but it made it a lot easier for us. Yeah, so the Triceratops, it did most of the work for us here, but yeah, we took out the last of them. Now, soon after that, we were in there, we found the keys that we needed off of this lad that, yeah, he had some serious issues. And we ended up turning on the radio tower. Once we did this, it hacked the, the lad ended up hacking the gate for us. And it allowed us to get through the gate. You can see on the right-hand side, the big gate, like Jurassic Park style gate thing sort of opened. And that allowed us to exit this area. Now, on the map, it did say that this was coming up to like a T-Rex sort of section. So, I don't know, it just felt like Jurassic Park once again to me. You know, with the gate opening and like, welcome to Jurassic Park. Shh, they're approaching the T-Rex section. Once we went through there, that was pretty much it. That was the playtest for us on Steam. If you want to go check it out, you can just jump in there, check it out. Now, a few of the things I want to say. This is my feedback of the game. I thought it was pretty mad. I did think the graphics was pretty good at times. However, I did see it a little bit aged at times as well. Especially versus games that are coming out on Unreal Engine and that. I did notice that, yeah, the graphics, I don't know. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. It was weird. The biggest problem I had was the sound. It didn't sound like there was any, like, it sounded like there was no 3D sound. It sounded like the sound was on a headset on your head or something. And, like, that was it. So, it was just weird. Sometimes it sounded like the voices were behind me when they were in front. The things like the Triceratops, like, sounded like it was made out of rocks. I don't know. It needs a bit of work. But, I don't know. If you like that sort of game where you, like, you know the movie Lost World, Jurassic Park? If you want to be that person that goes onto the world and walks around, it's a lot like that. That's what I found. It's a lot like that. But either way, we're going to leave this one here. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Yeah, smash the like button. Consider hitting that subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the next episode. See you later.